Yeah, I'm Marco Entchev. I'm involved or a co-initiator of the NGO Chancen gestalten, which can be translated into create opportunities, or in short, the short version of it would be changes. Well, basically you can sum it up into connecting local people, young local people from Munich or other cities within Germany to refugees, young refugees who are here with family or without family, but who hope to get to know people from the places, from the locals. The project evolved from another project basically which help people from socially disadvantaged backgrounds within Germany to participate in the labor market, to participate in the community, in the society by providing them a mentor, so a guide, a friend whom they could always talk to, ask for help in their education, in sending applications and so on. And the unique thing about the project was that compared to or in difference to other projects, the mentors were educated through seminars. So they were not just thrown out there with the goodwill and were told, okay, help them, but we educate those mentors so they are not thrown out there without any background knowledge. And due to the success of this project, we came up with the idea of doing the same for refugees. So the project basically started in Heidelberg and then expanded to other cities like Munich, Berlin, Passau and other cities, and we're still trying to expand it. So that's how it basically started, from one to the other project. During the past years, with lots of refugees coming to Germany, we saw the great will of many people to help and to engage in helping refugees and making them feel comfortable here. But we also saw that there is a lack of coordination and a lack of commitment to really do it in a sustainable way, because many people want to help, but then they attend some sort of event, some sort of get-togethers where they meet refugees and, I don't know, they play football and so on, and that's super cool. I think that's what should be done as well, but we also felt like the refugees were really hoping to find friends here, to find local friends and not only stay among their communities of other refugees in their residences and so on. And obviously due to their different cultural background, to the lack of knowledge in German language and so on, they are too shy to integrate themselves, let's say. So although they want, it's hard for them to do so because they live in residences where locals don't go or they don't have access to, they cannot identify with them. So there's no mixture, it's just those small events that happen from time to time. So our idea was to break that and to connect people, local people from Munich, young people, especially students, to refugees, and kind of create friendships. And those friendships, the most important thing for us is the friendship, so that those two get along well and do activities and have fun together, but also help each other, or that the mentor, let's say, helps the refugee in bureaucratic stuff. So if there's any forms to fill out, if he has to send in applications, or if he has problems at school, that there's always someone who helps him, which is not his teacher or his roommate in the refugee residence, but who's a local from Munich, who can show him another side of Munich or other cities. The main challenge was and still is the dedication of the mentors. So I think there's a lot of people who really, in the beginning when you present the project, they say, yeah, it sounds cool, I want to do it, awesome, I'm gonna take part in it. But they are a bit, they have a wrong illusion of what it is, that it is work, it is not always easy. It's not like you meet a random guy and you're best friends from the first second on, and then you drink a beer and dance around the fire. It's not that easy, at least not always. So I think a lot of mentors, they apply for it and then they start the mentoring relationship and soon get like frustrated by it because it doesn't work out the way they hoped it would be, or they see, okay, I don't know, I have to invest, I don't know, 2 hours a week, and that's too much for me because I have a girlfriend and this and that. So that's one issue that we're trying to deal with by really talking as well to the mentors in advance what it's going to be, and we give seminars to them to provide them some background information and so on. So we really we do not accept everyone who just raises his hand and says, yeah, it's cool. We really want to see if those people who participate are into it or not. And it's not too much that we expect from them. It's just the dedication to really, to commit to it. And the second challenge, which goes in the same direction basically, but from the mentee side, so from the refugee side, is that also a lot of the refugees, they raise their hands when they hear about the project and they want to participate, but maybe they're a bit delusionated as well from what it actually is. So we had experiences that some refugees thought this would be like a, how do you say, partner forum, so where you could find a girlfriend, or if it's just like a forum where they can find a friend who helps for the exams. And it's understandable, but that's not what it is about. And we also had problems. For example, we had mentors who were born in mostly Muslim countries, or in countries where, well, most people are Muslim. So, and then the mentee said, okay, I don't want to have a Muslim mentor, which was super surprising for us because the intention of the project is just to establish connections and to build bridges and to disregard religion, background, origin, and so on. And then those mentees, so the refugees themselves, would say, yeah, I don't want to have an Egyptian mentor. So we learned from that experiences, and what we do now is really we go to the schools in advance and we really clearly say what the project is about, what our aim is, what the project is not about, and we let it free to those who want to participate. But I think it's very important to just really define the structure and the content of the project in advance, so to avoid those misunderstandings. One advice I would really give is to think sustainably, as stupid as it might sound, but often enough there's people who are really energetic about engaging in such projects, but the problem is when somebody, I don't know, starts to work abroad, and then suddenly that particular person who was the driving force of the project is not there anymore, or is not in the city anymore, then it all falls apart. So I think it's very important to establish a structure that is sustainable within the project, so that you always have people who engage in it and who are dedicated to teach as well, so that not only people who participate in it, but who teach the knowledge and the expertise they gain through the project. And that's what we do in Chancen gestalten, because we always educate mentoring coordinators who then give the seminars to the next mentors, and we always try to have at least 3 mentoring coordinators in each city, so that if one of them says, okay, I don't have time, I will move to another city or whatever, there's always people who can continue the project. So this is, I think it's essential to really have a sustainable structure that plans long term and not only short term. Well, first of all, we always have meetings with all the mentors where we discuss actual problems, wishes from the mentees, so we keep close contact to the mentees and the mentors, so we always have direct feedback of what's going on. And also we hand out surveys to the refugees, to the mentees after 1 year of the mentoring relationship, because usually we say one relationship is set to 1 year, but of course it can last longer. And in those surveys we ask the refugees to tell us whether they think they benefited from the relationship, from the program, if they have now think they are better integrated into the society, if they feel more comfortable in the city, if they have more self-confidence in sending applications and doing their own stuff and going to the doctors, paying the bills, all this stuff. So I think those surveys really show if we succeeded and what are the needs of the refugee communities. From our experience, this really helps also to improve the project for the future, because we just get to see how they think about it, and often it's very surprising how honest they are about it, about the downsides, about the good sides, about everything. So we think it's really helpful to do this. And one advice though, don't let it do them in groups, because when they do it in groups, especially if they write it down in German, they will just copy from from their neighbors. So let it do them at home. And yeah, it will be more individual and more, well, true.
What's the age range that you work with?
So the refugees we work with, they all go to schools, which is, in German it's called Berufsschule. I don't know what exactly would be a translation in English. So it's not the primary school, of course. It's and it's not a university. It's a school where you basically learn certain techniques or skills for the labor market. So one Berufsschule, for example, is about gastronomy, hotellerie and stuff, and or more technical Berufsschule, so where you already orientate into a specific direction on the labor market. And the age range of the refugees there depends on the class, of course, but it varies a lot, between 16 and 25, let's say. And also the mentors that work with us, we try to have them at the same age as the mentees, so that there's not always like a 40-year-old guy helping out a 16-year-old, which might work, but it's not what we aim at, because our primary aim is to create friendships. I think a major problem is time for a lot of people, because everybody keeps telling me, yeah, it sounds super cool, but I don't have time. So I think that could be a cultural thing. I don't know how it would be in other countries, but I feel like in Germany everybody, or many people, think they don't have time. And they have a lot of time, because each day is 24 hours for every person on this planet. So you have that time, you just have to set priorities. What's your personal aim in life? What's your goal? What do you want the world to look like? So, and I'm really surprised sometimes that people keep telling me they don't have time, because of course everybody has their hobbies, their duties, but I see so many people just wasting their time. And I think, like, yeah, you better don't tell me that you don't have time if you keep asking me, okay, you want to play video games tonight and so on. So it's a matter of priorities, and that's, I think, a cultural thing, a problem that we're facing. And, well, speaking about politics, I think we can all agree that politics are often a problem. in these topics. I mean, they support as well as much as they can do. I think it doesn't make sense to always criticize and just point fingers. If you are unhappy with how things are going, then you should engage and not expect politicians to engage and wait for them to do the job that you could be doing. So, but one major thing that relates to politics, or one major obstacle, is just the continuity of the decisions that are being made there, that we don't have any influence on. So we're working with refugees that are attending school, and they are really trying to get education, to find a job and so on, and they really invest in it. They really show dedication, and it's heartbreaking to if you then from one day to the other hear that this person will be sent home. So this is the biggest obstacle that we're facing, that we work with people who are really willing to integrate themselves and who are really thankful for participating in this project, and then suddenly politicians make a decision to send back all the Afghans that have come. And that just doesn't make sense, because you cannot let people come here, expect them to integrate, expect them to to really learn German and do this and that because you're here as a guest. You have to. And then they do that, and the next day you say, yeah, sorry, you have to go home now. That's not how sustainable integration works. I think the greatest support for organizations like we are would be a continuous, predictable policy, so that there is a policy that you can guide your organization around. I don't know if I said that correctly. So, because that's the most difficult thing. If you just cannot predict the decisions, and the decisions change every week, then you cannot integrate sustainably, because it just changes too quickly. So I think, apart from a lot of expectations that people have towards policy or politics, this would be my most relevant expectation towards them. It's just make it predictable and continuous, and not not so fluctuative. If you think about what makes ourselves, those who were born here, who live here, happy in the society, I think it's basically the same tools that apply to the refugee. So from my personal view, I would say, okay, it makes me happy if I have a task, if I have something to do, and where I can be creative, where I can express myself, where I can feel important in a way because I have a role to fulfill, and where I'm connected to people, where I do sports. So all these things that make us happy, that make us feel at home, I think it's the same tools that apply to the refugees. So give them the opportunity to participate in cultural events, in sports, in music, in all these things that we thrive from as well. So I think it doesn't really differ. It's just whether we give them the opportunity to do the same or not. Apart from supporting social mobility for young people, we at Transnational Corridors also run a lot of transnational projects where expertise and knowledge on education, on youth care is exchanged amongst institutions and governments, in order to establish structures that have proven to be successful, for example here in Germany, regarding health, youth care, education and so on, in other countries, because often they do have the will to do so, but they lack the expertise, the knowledge and the experience, and that's where Transnational Corridors comes into play.